A fatal mistake, one irreversible curse, and an entire dynasty thrown into chaos. Pandu's story is the ticking time bomb at the heart of the Mahabharata. Let's explore how it detonated across generations. Welcome, kind listeners, to Under the Banyan Tree,
the live show where ancient epics meet modern minds.
I am Leo, a yogini from the West.
And I am Mayank, a rationalist from the East.
And together we journey through the Mahabharata from the retelling of Ramesh Menon, epic of war, fight, and everything in between.
Everything in between.
Today we are reading chapter 17, A Curse in the Forest, and chapter 18, Pandu's Yearning, from the Sankalpa of reading it from the point of view of failure.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mayank, what's your understanding or what's your definition of failure?
I know nothing about failure, but I still wrote a definition for failure. My definition is if you can't accomplish a goal or some milestone, then in that context, you can call yourself a failure.
And a milestone that it's set by other people or an internal failure?
Like, say there are things that people believe that you should be able to accomplish this by this age, that you should finish your schooling by this age, or say graduation by this age. I'm just taking random milestones of life, and based on that I'm saying that, like, I'm saying about the perception, how the perception of people is
So it's about external perception, it's not about internal evaluation.
It can be internal evaluation as well, provided you are honest to yourself.
Okay.
And how will you define it?
My definition or my understanding of failure is related to the questions that I asked you. So there's the external perception of failure, that it's much more rooted to the belief system of the person that it's evaluating you. And there's the idea of the internal judgment that you have that can be positive in the sense of, if we understand that success is the accumulation of failures, it's okay to fail. But if you use the concept of failure to label yourself, that might not be very productive to yourself. So, I think failure, it's a double-edged concept, and I would love to look through this double-edged concept in Pandu's and the wives and the Muni, and how we can look at them from different sides of this knife.
Okay. And did you do any etymology research?
Yes, I did the etymology research, and it's it's a word that comes from Latin, and it just means, or it meant, non-occurrence. So something that didn't happen, and cessation of supply.
Oh.
So we have a cessation of supply in this case.
No, but I'm just thinking, do we use this cessation of supply definition in our modern
I think we
usage?
use, at least in terms of in business, they failed to provide, or you are waiting for an order to come and they failed to deliver. Many times in production environments, you have a failure, or there was a failure in the deployment.
Mm.
So I think we use it too.
Okay. So when we go to the text now,
that I will fail.
so we are into Swadhyay.
Yes.
So in
Are we in Svadhyaya?
yes,
Don't we need to read the text first?
no, we are in Swadhyay.
Okay.
Yeah. If I'm not wrong,
I think you are wrong,
let
but
me.
maybe I'm failing in my observation.
So, first we need to do a summary. The Shravan part.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
yes. So I invite you because this is your turn to do the summary. So please.
Can you count me down?
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so we finished last chapter with a very anguished Kunti, and Kunti is in profound suffering for 3 years until her stepfather, let's call it that way, throws Svayamvara, that it's a ceremony where she chooses the husband and she picks Pandu with the dream of having 100 sons. So this is the first wife of Pandu, and after he marries Madri. After getting married with the 2 wives, Pandu goes on a conquest. So he conquers 6 new states for what is now India. And to celebrate this, and they deserved a little bit of respite, they go to a forest and they live beautiful and most perfect weeks all together. Pandu, as his ancestors, he had a thing for hunting. So one day he goes to hunt and he sees 2 deer mating. So although it's against the Kshatriya law, he kills the stag. And in the last whisper of the stag, he now knows that it was not a stag, but a Muni. So a Muni and a wife that transform themselves into a stag and a hind to have a different experience of making love. So the Muni curse Pandu, saying, the moment, terrible prince, you make love to a woman again, you will also die. So with this curse over him, he goes back to the wives in shock and tells them what happened, and he decides to become a brahmachari. Therefore, he sends the message to Hastinapur that he will enter sannyas, and he gives all his possessions. He decides to change completely his life, and the wives decide to stay with him. So they go to an ashram, and it was hard at the beginning, but it was not his time to die, and with the help of the wives, he could go over the urges of fulfilling the matrimony. But he starts to feel a little bit unsettled, and at some stage he talks with another sage, and they want to cross a big lake and go to a place where they are close to Brahma. And the sage tells him that it's not yet his time. And this sage can see into the future and tells him that he sees him with not 1, but 5 sons. This was a big, big stone in the lake of consciousness of Pandu. And from that moment, and also with the whispers of his grandmother saying that a man without a son don't have entrance in heaven, he starts to be completely unsettled. He can't meditate. He starts to be very, very anguished. So he decides to talk with his older wife, with Kunti, telling her, look, I have to have a son. There's ways, even in other times, women were free. They could have relations with other men. I really, really need to have a son. And she was very disturbed, in doubt. And after she decides to tell her the gift that she received from
Durvasa.
from Durvasa, and tell him that actually she can conceive a son from a deva. So he immediately decides, okay, that's what we are going to do. And so today, me and Madri, we are going away to another place, and you can call the god of truth, Dharma. And I think that's it.
Yeah, that's the chapter.
Chapters.
Yeah.
They were 2.
That,
I'm sorry, I think it was a very detailed summary.
yes, there is nothing more to be added to this summary. You have covered more or less everything from the chapters. And
Well, I didn't mention that the wife, the Hind, died too.
yeah, like both the both creatures, they die from the arrow of Pandu.
And I didn't share also the troubles of Bhishma. Although Bhishma, he showed calmness to others, in his private chamber, he would question himself and ask and say, if I was another man, I would already kill myself or get insane, or himself choose a life as sannyas.
Yeah, it was a shock for the whole family. Ambalika, Satyavati, Bhishma, everyone was shocked. So yeah, that was a lot to take. But now, if now we dive into Swadhyaya, and I would like to discuss where's the first instance where you saw failure. What would you say?
The first instance, and okay, I will mention this with a premise or with a preconception. So we have Kunti agonizing during 3 years because she abandoned her son. In a way, she fails to forget.
Yep.
There was nothing to be done. At that time, she made the choice that she thought it was the best for her and for the baby. She let go of him in the river, but she didn't let go of the pain and the anguish in the river of her consciousness. So she fails to forgive herself. She fails to forget. And that's why, for me, it's interesting to look at failure from external judgment and internal judgment.
Well, I wrote only the external judgment, and I just wrote that she failed as a mother. I also wrote she also failed to forget the kid, but she failed as a mother because as a mother, primarily your duty is to take care of your baby, which she failed to do. And yes, she has all the reasons, but I still feel.
I just feel that it's an assessment without compassion.
Yes, that's true. I'm a very objective assessor. No, I get it. Like, we can always go back, look into her situation, but on a, as we say, prima facie.
For me,
evidence,
it's
something.
almost the same, and this is a big stretch, okay? But it's like, and I'm sorry, this might be a sensitive subject, so I will talk about abortion. You can skip over if you want, but it's almost like she didn't have the option of abortion, okay? If it was nowadays, she would choose to abort, probably. if that possibility existed in her mind. So it's almost like every woman that decides to do abortion, they fail as mothers.
Like, I just feel it's the failure of the society.
Okay.
It's not the
So
failure.
it's not a personal
Yeah, I
failure.
don't blame
it's
it on the person.
Okay.
It's a society which we live in, which has such convoluted ideas. Okay, like
No, that I
like,
understand and agree.
with a disclaimer, okay, with a
Okay.
disclaimer, calling a baby bastard, okay, such an abuse. We have a word in society for this. It shows that how messed up our ethics or our um, rules
They are ethics. They
yeah.
are the philosophy of a
Yeah.
society.
So like
The values.
the question is why we have that word in the first place. It should not be there. Every person on this planet came out of some mother's womb. It's as simple as that. So every child is a legit child. Okay, it doesn't matter who the father is. I personally believe, and I can be wrong in this, but the primary parent is mother.
And it's very interesting because even in the text, they actually don't value at all the father.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Ambika and Ambalika, they married into the Kuru family. They had sons from a sage, but they are considered a descendancy of the Kurus.
And even here, like Pandu's case, he's asking Kunti that you can have son with Devas. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, I imagine this about Pandu, and I can be wrong.
So
that if Kunti would have said, "Oh, I already have a son from one of the Devas," he would have accepted it.
I agree with you. But let's just get back a little bit in your assessment. So you said that Kunti failed as a mother. So that's you expressing the judgment of the society at that time?
No.
Or
that's my assessment.
Okay.
Because as per society, like society expects her to either abandon or get rid of that baby. Like I'm thinking it in that terms that if I am that baby, how would I feel? For me, all these justification don't matter. That what society thinks. For me, what matters is that say my mother abandoned me. And I think probably that bitterness always was there in Karn.
Yeah.
From whatever we saw in the series. Book we still have to read. But in series, he was a bitter man. Like they portrayed him as a good person, like with some good qualities here and there, some bad qualities. But he had this bitterness inside him that his mother abandoned him.
Did he knew that his mother abandoned him?
Yeah.
I think he knew at certain stage. Even he was named after his mother. So I think, and I'm sorry, we are all over the place. We went back, we are moving forward, and we are not discussing the current 2 chapters, but it's just a side note. From what I understood, his bitterness was for lack of adjustment. He was a Kshatriya, and he was not accepted to be taught. He wouldn't adjust to the environment where he grew up, and he had other dreams because it was in his nature as a consequence of who was the mother and the father. And after, yes, he comes to know that he was the son of Kunti and he was adopted, but that was later in the text.
No, but he at least knew that his mother abandoned him. He didn't know Kunti abandoned him. But he knew his mother abandoned him.
I don't remember that way.
Because he was always called Radhe and he knew that he is an adopted kid. He knew all those facts. He didn't know who the mother is, but he knew for sure that I was abandoned. So he always knew, and he because he made all those guesses that woman may be a princess, that woman may be living near the Ganga,
Okay.
because he made all those assessments. So, but yeah, like as you said, okay, we are digressing, but I'm just, and I know that it's a very black and white assessment which I'm making without any background, without any context. But this is what I wrote, that being a mother, if she probably showed some courage, it could have been a different
Aren't you asking
example.
too much of her at that time?
Yes, I am. But that's the thing, like, only she is in the position who can make such choices.
I I think we discussed this a little bit
Yeah.
before, so I don't want to invest too much time. Probably this is because I'm a woman. I don't feel I have the right of judging so harshly Kunti. I don't feel that it's right to judge in that way. 14 years old adolescent, even if at that time they were considered women, for a choice that she made in panic and
But
fear.
that's the thing. Look, I don't want them to be considered 14 years old, because then that's the thing. Then nothing makes sense. Then why are we judging them? It doesn't make sense to judge 14-year olds. Like, I want to talk about people who have, like our last theme, that who have agency. Then only we can talk about their action. Or else for a 14-year-old, I'm going to more or less forgive everything and anything, whatever they do.
Okay, so let's move on. What other instances did you find failure?
Mm, the next thing I could think of was Pandu, when he killed the pair of deers with his arrows, and he failed to follow his Kshatriya dharma. He failed to keep those rules and regulations in his mind, that you are not allowed, you are not supposed to kill mating animals. So, and that was a big big goof up, a big failure at his part. But I didn't notice anything before that. Did you notice anything?
No, I have a note on that too, because I
Mm-hmm.
found interesting the sentence, fate had nudged his carefree life into hell. And it's a pattern that I find in the book.
Mm-hmm.
That everything that it's not that good is fate. Fate in the sense of destiny or time, or and it is, I find it interesting. From my point of view, he has agency on his choices. And we are talking about Pandu and Kunti, and in a way both of them, and looking at them as fully formed brains over 25, they made a long-term decision based on a short-term emotion. So Kunti was completely disturbed. So a short-term emotion of what happened at that moment in time. So she made a long life decision of, I'm letting go of this baby. And Pandu made the decision of becoming a sannyas because he committed a crime.
But it also facilitates him to, follow the curse, or else how to follow the curse. The curse essentially puts him in
I
the
think it's
situation.
much easier to oblige accordingly to the curse if you are a brahmacharya and a sannyas than living a normal life. It's the same as me trying to live a yoginic life in a Western culture and surrounded with all the stimulus around us. So it's easier to become a sannyas.
Uh, to be honest, I don't think so. Because think of this, like think
Mhm.
of his lifestyle. He's a king.
No,
He's
he's a prince.
he's a prince, he's a king, he's a virtual ruler. Okay?
Yeah.
He's virtual ruler of the place. And so he has all sorts of stimulus available at
Mhm.
his palace. So that's one thing. Second is also like that's the way which many kings or princes they did repent their act through taking sannyas either for short period of time or for a longer period of time, because he also killed a muni,
Yeah.
a brahmin, which used to be probably the highest level of offense which you can do at that point of time.
Mhm.
So I think that also plays a role, that why
Okay.
he decided that he will go for sannyas. But like if I ask,
Like a penancy.
yeah, it's like a penance. So, but you didn't agree with that choice of taking.
So, and from a point of view
Hmm.
of, oh, by the way, so you say that killing Muni, it's the worst offense. And that's why people go into sannyas. So he couldn't be judged. There was no court. There was no justice system.
So the justice, that's the thing. Like he himself is the king. He will be prosecuting himself. So, and as a king, you have to set the example. So that's what he did. Like there are stories which say even Rama, when he killed Ravan,
Mm-hmm.
because Ravan was like half Brahmin and a very knowledgeable guy. And by Brahmin, I means ultimately it's about knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
someone who has knowledge. So they didn't mention the name. It was Rishi Kindam who died at the hands of Pandu.
Mm-hmm.
He was a knowledgeable guy,
Mm.
okay, who died. And if you do such a act,
Mm-hmm.
then you should get something from that legal system or justice system. And as a king, he made the choice of like leaving everything behind and being a sannyasi. But yeah, there can be like obviously like, but I don't know how it may have worked, prosecuting himself and then
Well, he was not. He was just you know, the the king behind the scenes.
no, that's where I feel the novel has messed up. No, the King Pandu was the king. He was known as King Pandu. Reason being why this is so important.
I know.
If you don't consider Pandu to be the king, the right of Yudhishthir, at least by lineage, it becomes very dicey. Like the thing is, ultimately, the story want to establish that Yudhishthir was, even by lineage,
Yudhishthir.
yeah, the eldest Pandav, the eldest son of Pandu and Kunti.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, so Yudhishthir was the uh, so he was the true descendant for the he was the true future king for Hastinapur, even by lineage and also by qualities,
By merit.
by merit. So that's the thing. So that's why he's always called King Pandu. I don't know why book mentioned that, oh, Dhritarashtra was the king and Pandu was the virtual ruler. No, Dhritarashtra was denied the uh, throne because he was blind.
Okay.
So
So let's move on.
yeah.
So okay. So yeah, and just to finish my thought process in terms of, making decisions, long-term decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I think from within the society, and that was the normal procedure that you go into sannyas. But again, I think it's easier to be to be a brahmachari in a
In
context.
in a palace.
No, and that's why it's a real penancy. That's why it's a real penancy.
No, the thing is, in a palace, you are still in physical comforts. So one more element of penance is that even your body should not be comfortable.
But for my experience, it's much easier for you to be a brahmacharya or to follow certain practices if you are in an ashram than if you are in a normal society. Because in the ashram, you just need to be as the others.
Okay, so I will just add one more line and then I will stop my argument here. So being a king is also, like, as I said, you have to set examples. And think of this, what the subjects may think. Oh, our king killed a Brahmin and still living in the palace. Okay, he may be following brahmacharya and all, but he's living comfortably in the palace. So he's setting that example that, oh, I killed someone, that's why I left everything. Now I'm in the jungle living a life of, like, say, I don't have enough means. I have to sustain myself through whatever I get from the forest. So I think there are, like lots of those bases for why he has decided something. But yeah, like ultimately we know eventually that he failed to follow his celibacy. But yeah, like probably good for storytelling. Therefore Vedvyas was like, let's send him to forest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think in a way Kunti failed to say no.
Yeah. And in what ways she could have, like, do you think she had this choice? If I ask you that she had this choice, that I said no, it means no, nothing is happening. Say if she didn't have any boon or something, do you think her situation is different than Ambika Ambalika? Yeah, Ambika and Ambalika. Ambika and Ambalika, we saw that.
I think if you demand her to keep a baby, you demand her to say no.
Ambika and Ambalika had to keep a baby and they couldn't.
No, but you were saying that Kunti failed to be a mother.
Yeah.
So if you demand her to have the capacity of keeping a baby, I demand her to have the capacity of saying no.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, my assessments are from an ideal scenario of societies. Okay, when I say that.
So in an ideal scenario of society, she fails to say no.
Yeah, obviously, in that ideal scenarios, yeah, for sure, she failed to say no. Yeah, which makes sense. Because we are seeing, like, here, women are hardly getting choices.
Yeah.
So they just have to follow whatever they are told to. So, yeah, in that sense, she failed.
Yeah, but in between having intercourse or coitus with Muni and Deva, at least she has a better option.
Muni? Okay. Understood, yeah. Because, yeah, say she may have to go for a yoke or something. Which is the thing, like why did these guys don't adopt? But okay, we discussed about that last time as well. Was there anything else where you felt?
Not from the top of my mind, to be honest. Let me take a look on my notes.
Mention of Ambalika, Satyavati, Bhishma, Vidur, but their reaction didn't seem to me like failure. Like, what are they supposed to do?
I think in a way, the fact that Pandu cannot have an offspring, and within that society, in a way, he failed as a king.
Makes sense, yeah.
Because his duty is to ensure the lineage. So
I'm keeping it away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For a change.
Yeah.
So within that context, and because of his.
Yeah, that's a very good assessment actually. Because one of the duties of a king is to provide rightful heir. This was the word which I was thinking for so long. Heir. Yeah. So yes. And but Pandu found a hack.
As always, they always find a hack to have babies.
So eventually he didn't fail. For time being he failed.
Yeah.
As you said, multiple failures lead to success. He failed enough to get
But
success.
the work needs to be done by a woman.
Obviously. You want men to make babies. We will die simply from the pain of childbirth. Hips of men are not made to take that to take that suffering. Okay. So do you think they, because they mentioned Uddalaka, son of
Oh yeah.
so Shvetketu, son of Uddalaka, who made this law of having one of monogamy, not monogamy.
Yeah.
No, that the restriction was only on women, not on men. So at
Like
least
in all patriarchal societies.
yes, hail patriarch. So
I'm shifting on my chair.
yeah. So do you think his whatever law or rule he came up with was a good law, a bad law, or he failed to assess the society in a proper manner? What would you say about that? Because, and let me give a context to people. So Dalaka was a rishi and his son was Shvetketu, and Uddalaka's wife was asked by some other hermit to have love making, and she agreed. And Shvetketu was disgusted by this, and then he made a law that a woman can only have one husband. So essentially, it kind of started this it seeds of monogamy. So the women were restricted, and later somewhere I think probably in Manusmriti or something, the men were also restricted. So one one partner became a norm, and more or less having one partner is a successful model in the society. However, people are always also open to the ideas of open marriages nowadays. So for that time, what was your assessment like?
I'm sorry, I'm pausing to think.
Mm-hmm.
I think the issue is the rule.
Mm.
Okay. I think people should not be judged for being monogamic, nor be judged for having an open relationship. There's a psychologist that I really like her, and she
Esther
has
Perel.
Esther Perel. She has a 3 people relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And one comment was, there's a lot of much more communication, and we need to be much more communicative and making sure that the message is delivered. But they are in a happy relationship. So
Like Pandu, Kunti, and Madri.
yeah.
That was a people relationship.
Yeah. So I I think that there should exist openness. We keep talking about inclusion. We keep talking about respecting the difference. We just talk about it. We are not trained, and our brains are not developed in a way to accept difference easily. So whatever it's different from my beliefs or my way of living, the first reaction is judge instead of inviting curiosity and compassion.
That was very nicely explained. Yeah, I really liked it. Probably Swet Ketu should have known that his mother is still an independent individual and she can take a call for herself.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah, I, I just feel I don't know like how Hindu mythology comes up with such stories or arguments to establish something.
I think things happened, and after you find justifications for it.
Yeah, probably we do a reverse engineering.
Yeah.
That okay, that once they saw that monogamy came in practice, someone asked this question and they said, "Oh, actually, our ancestors used to be much free and open about this." And then someone established this rule, and this is the story for that. And people are like, "Yeah, story makes sense." Hmm. But yeah, I think you probably talked a very important point. I genuinely think probably we are also little bit hardwired in our genes to resist something new or something different, and
Well,
that's why it's not easy.
accordingly to research, and I don't know how, I think everything it's limited in the sense of we are using our senses to research it. But it seems that humans are programmed to live in small communities, people, communities of 200 people, 200, 250 people. And we live in a globalized civilization where every day are we are exposed to different cultures, we are exposed to different ways of living, we are exposed to uh, different point of views, which already demands a lifting. Or, if you are a self-reflective person, you will assess yourself and try to understand why I reacted in this way to this situation. Um, and I think we became extremely judgmental.
Hmm.
I think each person have a set of beliefs, and questioning their beliefs is question their existence. And I think I say this especially in West because we are much more attached to our concept of individuality. And I think that's not healthy. And I know that we seek for similarity and we like a doctor that looks like us. We prefer a manager that comes from the same culture as us because it's easier to communicate. But if we live in a globalized reality, I think it's important for us to have our community around, but have the openness to be okay with difference instead of immediately judging.
Hmm, that makes sense. I started thinking on the individuality aspect, but we will not go on that route.
No, no. Okay, I think I'm done with lessons,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, I think there were some good lessons in your uh things which you specially shared in the last few minutes.
Okay,
Uh,
so
do you
let's
think
go
there
to the
was
last.
anything else?
Hmm,
I don't think so.
I think we should move on into Naman.
Aman?
Go
Oh,
ahead, please. I'm talk.
no,
I
you.
talk. I talk too much. Go ahead.
Okay, I would like to Naman. I would like to Naman Rishi Kindam and his wife, who were just collateral damage in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they were having some good time, which was spoiled by an arrow from Pandu. And yeah, I don't like when poor animals die because of the stories. But okay, in that case, obviously they were animagus
Mm-hmm.
and not animals. But yeah, for their contribution to the story, Rishi Kingdom and his wife. What about you?
You will find it very weird,
Go ahead,
but
Pandu.
I
No,
want to bless Bhishma.
Ishma. Yeah,
I think, and the ones that already watched the previous episodes, I'm always very hard.
she's
And
anti Bhishma. She hates Bhishma to her core.
nonsense. Okay, nonsense. Ignore what he said. I yes, I'm hard and harsh on him, just because of the preconceptions that sometimes exist, and that he's all perfect and holy, and I try to humanize him. And my blessing is because of his humanization in this chapter. It's because it's shown that he is suffering. And I cannot imagine what is to feel the burden that he feels and have the strength to go through it and endure. And, enduring, it's hard. It's hard to live with something that you cannot improve. And he cannot improve because it's out of his control. But he's kind of a protector. So he needs to be there. He needs to be strong. And he needs to provide support, to provide guidance. And I want to bless him and everyone that in a way or another feels in that position.
A very good blessing.
Thank you. Okay, I think we are done for today. I will be away next weekend because someone is traveling. But after, we'll be back again with chapter 19, Kunti's unworldly lovers, and 20th, the sons of Pandu, with the sankalpa of reading it from the point of view of faith.
Fate. And this is it.
Yeah, call out.
Call outs. The only call out I have for people is, do you think Pandu's curse was fair or too harsh for an accidental act? I would like your opinion on this. Please flood the comment section with how difficult it was for Pandu to contain it.
He will have a full weekend to answer.
Yeah, I will answer to all your comments and I will like them, even if they are criticism or something. We will welcome them.
And talking about criticism, please let us know if the sound it's okay. We failed many times with all our tests to make sure our micros are aligned and in the same volume. So feel free to criticize. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.